Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's One Piece Treasure Cruise video we are going to break down the final 11th anniversary units that will be available in the upcoming Super Sugo Fest banners. We have Young, Roger, Rayleigh and Gaban, and for the other unit we have the Rocks. Essentially not all of them in one unit. The named characters are Linlin, Newgate and Shiki. As far as the rankings between these two go, in my opinion the better artwork goes to the Rocks, and the more interesting abilities as well, I would say. But the Roger trio is definitely the better character for Pirate Rumble, if that is what interests you. Let's break them down though, starting from Young, Roger, Rayleigh and Gaban. They will be Int, Slasher, Striker and have Super Tandem. With their Captain ability, they boost Int, Slasher and Strikers, which is good because the type is involved. Generally their boosting is good, not only attack boosting but HP boosting as well. And the two classes and typing might be getting the maximum boosting, but they generally boost all characters in the crew. They are a universal captain. They reduce Versus, Switch Goes and also Special Charge Time for the two classes and the typing, which is fine. They reduce damage taken by 20%, which with them double captain goes even higher, which is fine and can definitely help survive end of turn damage, for example, if present. They make some slots matching, which is always good. They completely remove threshold and they ignore it if the enemy has it available, which is great. And then they help by boosting chain and also color affinity boosting, which we will also see in their special ability. Overall, as a captain ability, it's fine, right? Nothing spectacular in my opinion. Decent multipliers, 100% usable, especially if threshold is present. But something is missing, so let's talk about the special first. They can reduce crew's special bind and chain coefficient reduction by 10 turns. Combined with the fact that as a sailor they can completely resist special bind, makes it for very good utility from the special. But there is a problem. If they are captains, they cannot resist special bind, so even if special bind is present for 10 turns or less, they cannot deal with it from the captain position. Which in my opinion is a very big disadvantage, simply because they lose a part of their kit, simply because they don't have a way to resist special bind if they are not a sailor. They're not a dual unit to do it with their swap, they cannot do it with their EX super either. 10 turns of chain coefficient reduction removal is also not the best. I know this unit is kind of built around chain boosting and color affinity boosting, and it makes sense for them to remove chain coefficient reduction, but overall, as a debuff, first of all we don't see it often, and even when we do, it's not the biggest problem in the quest. Very nice is what I'm trying to say. Let's continue though. Territory for Int, 3 turns, which is good. They give a color affinity boost for the two classes they boost only, not the color. Then they can provide a multiplicative chain boost and also more buffs, especially if specific character tags are in the crew, but nothing incredible in my opinion. This unit overall is very lackluster. I am not a fan of it at all. I don't like the unit. With that said, I don't think they are horrible or not usable or anything like that. I actually think they can be a very good combo with another unit that can provide chain boundaries. But if we consider the circumstances, the 11th anniversary, the third part of the Super Sugo Fest, the events where the unit originates from, I wouldn't say it is up to par. Their Super Tandem ability at maximum level provides a very decent tandem attack boost, it's a fine tandem ability. And then for the EX Super, it's not really clear here based on the wording we have on the website, but they should be able to activate it as a crewmate as well. If not, that's problematic by itself, because I think the unit should be more crewmate focused in general. From their EX Super, if the requirement is met, which is not that hard to do, but they can change fighter characters first class to Slasher, and then they can also reduce all enemies' beneficial effects by 1 turn, which could be nice, but the class change is the big one right here, because they can make the entire crew synergize They can only change fighter characters though, so have in mind if someone is, for example, Cerebral Powerhouse, they cannot change that unit into being boosted in a full slasher team. But I really hope they can use this as a crewmate as well, because it's very problematic to have very good special bind utility, but not be able to use it as captain in any way. It just goes to waste. For now, they might make a quest when they release, so for example the left column unit only gets special bind, the right one evades it, and that way you can activate them, but that will be very quest specific, so we can't really depend on something like that happening. The color affinity boosting also not the best type of boosting you can get, and the int color is actually not even included in the boosting, only the two classes, which is another disadvantage. Let's move on to the other far more interesting unit in my opinion, Newgate, Shiki and Linlin. First of all, the artwork is awesome. I really like all of the rocks here being included, even young Kaido, and he's not a part of the unit in the sense that you can use other Kaido units with this one, which is actually very good because this is a striker powerhouse focused character. It's also a super tandem character and they will be strength. This is a solo unit, even though multiple people are in the artwork and the actual unit, not a dual unit, just like Roger, Rayleigh and Gaban. With their captain ability, they can boost strength, striker and powerhouse characters by a very good amount. They are not a universal captain, like the other unit we saw, and they can reduce damage reduction completely instead of threshold, which is still very good coming from the captain ability. They boost cruise chances to land on RCV slots, which can be useful, but I don't think, because it's simply not guaranteed, it's something you can depend on in every quest, but they do make RCV and Sembla slots matching, which is very nice. Now, if this character hits an excellent from the action special, they provide more of an attack boost for 3 turns, which makes absolute sense. If 6 striker characters are on the crew, they apply an extra effect depending on crew's HP. We don't really know that for now though, we have to wait for more information. And then if HP is 20% or below, they reduce damage taken by 80% and activate HP guard for 100% for 3 turns. Which is something very interesting, also extremely niche, but very interesting to help us perhaps survive the combination of HP cutting with end of turn damage after defeat. Can be definitely useful in those situations, from the top of my head at least. Then, based on tags, if they are present, more of an attack boost again. Definitely a good captain ability and very usable, even though it's not something spectacular still. For their special ability, they can apply territory for strikers for 3 turns. They can remove 6 turns of attack down, but under a specific requirement, when the chain multiplier effect is over a specific amount. We don't know the exact amount, we have to wait for more information, but this has very high potential. They can reduce damage nullification by 3 turns, very good utility if you need it, but also extremely niche. They can change all slots, including block, to TND and Sembla, and actually from the EX Super they can also allow RCV and Sembla slots to provide super tandem, which can be very useful. And now, if the crew has an ore boost, they apply set target, which ignores immunity for striker and powerhouse characters, to deal 2 times the damage they would normally deal, which is very good. With set target active, the special charge time also will be reduced by 2, but I don't know how effective that part of the specific ability will be. And the final part of their special is kind of unclear because it says after that, which I'm guessing is the set target status, increase slot effect boost for strength, striker and powerhouse characters depending on the timing of the action special, the higher if it's excellent of course. A very good ore boost as well, but I'm not sure if they mean 1 turn after the set target status, and also does it mean we can also increase already existing ore boosts to what the effect says, or can an ore boost also be applied if one is not already in play? That's what increase means, that you can only, if one is present, increase it to that, but also changing it to strength, striker and powerhouse or boost kind of seems weird to me. So the wording, again, not the best here. We will have to wait for the official information, not just for this part, but for multiple parts of their abilities, to be completely honest. They do seem like a good unit with enough requirements to also make them not overpowered. That is 100% for sure. This is not a broken unit, in my opinion, or anything like that. Or at least, with what we know so far, it doesn't seem like it. The requirement for the EX Super does seem a bit weird, because we want either overhealing or 3 of the following characters in blue letters to be in the crew, so not the easiest requirement to fulfill. One of the rare recruits of the batch might be able to provide overhealing, we don't know that yet, but it is a possibility. They can reduce 10 turns of slot bind, which is extremely niche, but I guess has its uses in very specific situations. They can then allow the super tandem, as I said before, with RCV and Semla slots for 3 turns, and also apply minus 50% striker resistance. Not the best EX super, especially if we consider that the requirement is not one of the easiest ones to achieve. I understand that striker characters applying 2 times of the damage they would normally with the set target status effect, but then also dropping resistances for the enemy can be very useful if you have a full striker team, but again I think something extra could have been added here. I guess they do bank on the fact that we really want to activate super tandems in general. Overall they do seem to have a good kit, but we do have to wait for extra information on it as well for things to become more clear. I do find them way more interesting of a character than Roger, Rayleigh and Gaban though, that is for sure. Let me know of your opinions in the comments down below. Do you think that the 11th anniversary just peaked with the first part of the Super Sugo Fests? Or are you hyped for these popular characters as well? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.